Eyes of Solitude.
In a small town there was a man named Tom. He had a peculiar habit of staring at people. He didn't mean any harm, it was just something he couldn't help doing. As a result, he didn't have any friends. People thought he was odd and gave him the nickname the Town Weirdo. Tom spent his days sitting by his window watching the world go by. He enjoyed walking around town, his gaze fixing on anyone he encountered. The townsfolk were used to his staring by now, so they simply turned a blind eye when he was around. What they didn't know was that deep down Tom was extremely shy. He longed to strike up a conversation and make friends. But he didn't know how to break the ice. Whenever someone came up to him, he would recoil with shyness, backing away from any chance of conversation. He just kept staring from a distance, lost in his daydreams, imagining himself chatting away and forming bonds with them. But for now, those friendships remained just out of reach, tucked away in his imagination. Tom lived in a quaint house on Maple Street, the kind with creaky wooden floors and a cosy fireplace that was never lit. His window overlooked the main square, a focal point of the town where people gathered, children played, and life unfolded in vibrant colours. Every morning, as the sun cast its golden hues over the town, Tom would settle down by his window with a cup of tea, his eyes glued to the scene outside. He watched as Mrs. Baker opened her shop, the mouth-watering aroma of fresh bread wafting through the air. He observed Mr. Green, the postman, going about his rounds, always with a spring in his step. In the afternoons, Tom would take his solitary strolls, his presence barely registering to the people around him. He knew every nook and cranny of the town, every hidden alley where cats snoozed in the sun, and every bench that old friends claimed for their daily chats. As evening approached, the town would buzz with activity. Families heading out for dinner, teenagers hanging out near the fountain, and couples walking hand in hand under the streetlights. Tom watched them all, a silent observer to their laughter and conversations. But as the sky turned from pink to a deep twilight blue, a sense of melancholy settled over Tom. He watched the people, their faces alight with joy and companionship, and he felt a deep longing in his heart. He wanted to be part of that world, to share in the warmth of their smiles and the comfort of their words. Yet, the more he stared, the more people seemed to keep their distance. His gaze, meant to be a bridge to friendship, became a barrier. Whispers would flutter through the crowd like leaves in the wind. "There's the weirdo again," they'd say, casting sidelong glances his way. Tom's reputation as the town's oddity grew with each passing day. Children would dare each other to wave at him, only to scamper away in giggles. Adults would avert their eyes, quickening their pace as they passed his house. The more he tried to connect, the more they pulled away. Nights were the hardest. The town would fall silent, and Tom would be left alone with his thoughts. The empty chairs at his table seemed to echo the emptiness in his life. He would sit by the window, the flickering streetlights casting shadows that danced across his lonely room. Tom's days became a cycle of yearning and rejection. He continued to stare, to hope, and to dream of a day when someone would look back with understanding and kindness. But for now he remained the man at the window, forever watching, forever alone.
Thank you for listening to English Audio Lounge. We hope you have enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more audio stories and video classes to improve your English.